hello. So I was at the vet's yesterday. Don't worry, it was just a rabies jab, it was nothing bad. And I just kind of noticed for the first time that whenever I take a dog or a cat or anything to the vets, they get them to get on the scale. And I don't know when that started. Is that just an American thing? I don't remember that happening in England, but maybe it did. I'm like, can't you just usually just look at the cat? Stinky! Look at Stinky. Can't you just usually look at the cat and know that, like, it's an okay weight? Like, why do we have to get all technical and weigh them? Anyway. Starting to body shame animals. Alright, I actually only got this email this week, but I didn't write down the person's name. So I'm sorry, I'm really bad at that. But anyway, this person writes, I've had anorexia for 5, almost 6 years now, and I'm 25 years old, and I'm absolutely fed up, in capitals. I love reading your book, love that, and I listen to your podcasts. I'm really motivated to make positive changes for recovery and leave anorexia behind once and for all. I've made a food plan, I've stuck to it so far with no restriction. I know it's can't speak today, in brackets. I know it's only been 4 days of 2019 so far. Yeah, close brackets. And myself and my boyfriend set goals for 2019 that I need to recover and weight restore and be able to do. However, however is actually on a separate paragraph in block capitals. However, at work it feels like everyone is in block capitals, is on January resolution diets, going to the gym, talking about their diets and gym sessions. I can see my motivation flagging as I feel I'm trying to do the opposite, and I guess I feel like I'm losing a competition. Competition is in inverted commas. Like for the past 5 years when I have been the one, in block capitals, dieting and losing weight, etc., while others haven't, and now I guess it feels like I'm throwing it all away, in inverted commas. And others might overtake me and outperform me in dieting. Yet I know I need to gain weight for my health. Don't know if I've made any sense, but it makes sense in my head. I wonder if you have any advice. Yeah. You know, one of the most amazing things about restrictive eating disorders, anorexia, is that how, like, gosh, must be something really interesting over there, is just how, like, we all have the same damn thoughts, like, a lot of the time. It's funny because a lot of the thoughts that you might have, I know that when, you know, before I started telling the world about my eating disorder, you'd never tell anyone because they're just so weird and messed up, and you're like, nobody would understand how I feel about this thing. And then it's like, yeah, apart from every single person with anorexia. Yeah, so I was the same, and everything was a competition, really. Eating the least was a competition. Exercising the most was a competition. Being on a diet was a competition. Everything was competition when you got an eating disorder. It was a very competitive illness. And so I totally understand that feeling of when you stop playing that game, you feel like you're kind of losing. One of the weirdest and biggest kind of ongoing feelings that I had embarking on recovery, I think I dropped it when I finally just went through it. It was just this feeling of, I've been, especially with something like running, where I ran every single day. I never took a day off for like over 6 years. And then when I was thinking of stopping, it's just this thought of, I'm going to lose everything that I've worked for. I'm going to lose all of the fitness that I've held on to. I'm going to lose that track record of running every day. I'm going to become like everybody else. It's a really supercilious illness, anorexia. The reality is nobody else gives a fuck if you run every day. Like, it's like your brain places high values on things that really are no one cares about. The rest of the world doesn't give a shit. Nobody else values that. But when you have an eating, of course, unless you have an eating disorder, then you value that. So it's almost like you're playing this competition that no one else is playing. Do you ever do, My husband he's a bicycle commuter. He cycles into work, and he always comes, whenever he comes home, he's like, oh yeah, like I overtook 4 people on the bike path, and he's just like, I'm like, babe, they don't know that you were racing them. One of them was probably a granny in a push buggy. And he's like, it's always a race. I'm always racing them. I'm like, babe, they don't know that you're racing them, so it doesn't count. It's a bit like that. Nobody else knows that this is a competition, yet you still get that feel-good feeling of like, I'm doing better than everyone else if I restrict, or if I exercise more. If I do another class in the gym, everybody else just did one class, therefore I'm doing better, I'm out on top. And of course, this time of year makes that edge, that competitiveness, that tendency way worse, because other people are talking about things that they're doing. They're only really talking about it a lot of the time, and it's just, a lot of it is gym marketing as well, getting everybody going about health and fitness, and you should be in the gym and blah blah blah. It's not really about health and fitness at all, it's about money. But anyway, that's another thing to rant about, isn't it? The fitness industry. So it's just more, it's in the general conversation a lot more, isn't it, this time of year? Fitness, doing things, going to the gym, and it's not through your creation. It's not your fault that your brain sees that as a threat to you, but your brain does see it as a threat. Your brain sees it as I'm losing if I'm not doing these things. That's something that we have to rewire. It's not true. Just because it feels like it's true doesn't mean that it's actually true. And in a sense, if you've had an eating disorder, like you've had 5 or 6 years now, the reason that your brain thinks it's true, that it's very important that you do more exercise than everybody else, is because you've acted as if it's true for 5 years. Think about all of the times that you have actually taken action that has taught your brain that it's important that I do more movement than other people. So our brains really are products of what we train them. And you've trained your brain, all of us do it when we have an eating disorder. We don't initiate it, the eating disorder initiates it, but our continuation through the actions over the years trains our brain a certain way, many certain ways. And if, with me, for example, if somebody told me that they were going to a class at the gym, especially if it was the same class, if someone I knew took the same class that I took, I would have to then stay afterwards and take another class on top of that as well. I didn't feel quite the urgency to do it if I didn't know anybody in the class, but if I knew somebody in the class, I'd have to get that feeling of, well, they did one class, but I did 2. Gosh, it's boring, isn't it? I'm so glad I don't have to mess around with that sort of head mess. It's so time consuming. God. Anyway, but that's what I used to have to do. But I would feel the urge, so if someone else is in the same fitness class as me, I would feel the urge, I've got to do more than them, I've got to do more than them. That's my brain throwing up a suggestion, right? Got to do more than them. The only time I reinforce that by my actions. So if my action is I'm going to stay and take another class, I just told my brain, yes, it's true that I have to do more than this person. If I don't do that, if I say, thank you very much, brain, but that's kind of messed up and I'm going to go home now and not do more, then I teach my brain that it's not true that I have to do more than them. And that means that the next time my brain's going to be like, well, if that happens again, well, maybe I have to do more than that person, but I didn't do more than that person last time, so maybe I don't. And if you consistently are like, I'm not going to do that thing that my brain's asking, your brain then learns that's not true anymore. It's a bit like a computer, or very much so. Now, of course, if you're in recovery, you shouldn't be going to the gym at all. So that's easy, isn't it? But that's just an example of how, over the years, you've taught your brain that it's very important that you do more than other people. And now, you're going to have to teach your brain that it's not important at all, and it doesn't matter. And you're going to teach your brain by completely ignoring as much as you can what other people are doing. And even better, say, for example, your friend says to you, all right, I'm going to the gym, going to a spin class, see ya, bye. And they go off. And you have that anxiety prang, like, I really want to go to a spin class too, it's not fair, I'm not, and then you're just like, but I'm going to stay here, I'm going to watch Netflix. That's really good, well done, you kind of neutralized it. Do you know how you can more than neutralize it? You can be like, And I'm going to eat even more than usual just to teach my brain that it doesn't matter how much exercise someone else does. Because that's another trap that people get stuck in. They manage to not exercise, but then they kind of restrict, or they don't really eat as much as they possibly can. You have to do both things. And if you can, first of all, ignore the desire to work out more, and then cherry on top is like, and for that, I mean, even for that thought that I wanted to work out, I'm eating a chocolate bar right now just to teach my brain, shut up. That's really kind of gonna nail it. Hope that makes sense. Happy January, everybody. Fuck you to the gyms.